Everything old is new again. And I don't go to comic book shops much anymore. I really, really don't. There's not much that is out there that grabs me or excites me or wants to draw me in. And especially with the comics going so woke nowadays. And I miss my old Batman. I miss my old Superman. I was a DC guy. The Marvel for me was reading the Star Wars, reading the Battlestar Galactica comics that came out with that. Started reading the Conan series because my subscription to Star Wars came to an end when the series ended, and they said, "Hey, what do you want?" And I was never much into this Marvel superheroes. I'm sorry, people who are into Marvel. And I went with Conan the King, and I'm slowly buying up the back issues on that and going to have a big read fest off of that again. And I go to one that's in my hometown, about 20 miles away. There's a comic book / toy store, all that. And they actually have one in another direction that has an arcade attached to it. Gets to go off subject here a little bit. It's called Zap Arcade. You go in there, you plop down. I think it's $7 now. It was $5 before. You plop that down, you go into the room, and you have all these arcades from the 80s, even the 90s, and you can play to your heart's desires without any worry of putting a quarter in. And but to go into a comic book store, I hardly do that anymore. But I was there at the one because I wanted to check to see Star Wars toys, and as you can kind of see behind me. And on the top shelf, far away, it caught the corner of my eye. I go, that looks freaking familiar. It was this issue of Star Trek: The Next Generation, written by John Delancey, drawn by a good friend of mine, Gordon Purcell. And it threw me off. It's like, wait a moment, that's the annual. And I reached up and grabbed her, and I saw it was done by IDW. I'm not doing an ad for them. I know there's people back and forth by IDW and what they do. I'm not going to get into that fight. But it was from the annual #1 of Star Trek: The Next Generation, the second run. The first run was a 6-issue miniseries that DC did, and then they decided to go with that. Gordon Purcell did some work in the original Star Trek series, and they liked his art so much they put him on with Next Generation. And with a little bit of help from me because I help with technical stuff. In fact, he gave me a photocopy of that issue of all his pencil work. And I love comparing this pencil work with the pieces with the final that was done in the comic. This is one of those facsimile comics. Nice paper. The artwork, they probably could have done a better job of sharpening the images on there, but it's still enjoyable read. I have my signed copy somewhere in my box, or I would bring that one out and show you too. And what does this have to do? Well, this is about 1991. It's 1990 that this came out, and so that was about roughly 31 years ago that issue came out, and now it's being reprinted. And I know IDW is good at reprinting old comic books, the old original DC run of Star Trek, this and that. And everything's old news. I'm sure they're probably trying to tie it into the new Picard show because of the Q and Captain Picard. But it takes that to grab an eye sometimes. People are getting tired of the new stuff. It doesn't have that same flair. It doesn't have that same feel. It was so nice to sit down and read that, even though I read it. It's been a while since I read it. And you ask yourself, why are they not continuing this? Why aren't they doing this on the TV? Why do we have STD? And why did Patrick Stewart go in and basically ruin the character of not only Picard, but Riker and Troy, Data, and the whole franchise with what they did there. And now you have the Lower Decks, which is a joke. I wish I could say it was a good joke, but it's a bad joke. And they're talking about this new Prodigy series coming out. It's not Star Trek. Star Trek was never SJW. Star Trek was, yes, social awareness. They went out there and gave you an argument. Unlike the actor who played the captain in Discovery, he was the one that's also Malfi's dad in the Harry Potter movie series. He was the bad British colonel or general or whatever in the Patriot, many roles. And I have a mental block on his name. And he sat back and said, if you don't agree with what we have, we don't want you to watch. That is not Star Trek. That was never Star Trek. Rant time here. That was never Star Trek. Star Trek was meant for everybody to sit down and watch it, especially those that did not agree with you. You were bringing a platform of an argument or an idea to somebody to watch, to digest, especially more those that don't see eye to eye with you. This was not an echo chamber. This was not a bubble. You wanted someone to watch this that wasn't yours. You did not want to have the people coming back with the echo chamber saying, oh yeah, that's all wonderful, we agree. If that's what you want, you're a failure, especially with Star Trek. Star Trek is ideas, thoughts. It always was. It all depends, and it doesn't matter if it was Roddenberry, Gene Coon, D.C. Fontana, Braga, Moore. It doesn't matter. Star Trek was a foundation of thoughts and ideas, not propaganda. When they tried that in the old show, it didn't work. Let This Be Your Last Battlefield was one of those heavy-handed stories that was ridiculous. It was a third season story. It didn't work, despite what people want to sit back and say. It's laughable. But we have other stories where they start talking about, what the effects of the environment. Troubles with Tribbles is about that. And a humorous, well-written by David Gerald. Thoughts and ideas. That is why us old people gravitate to that old stuff and don't care about your new stuff. If you're not caring that we're going to watch, then fine, I'm not going to watch. But if you're going to have an argument you want to bring forward, it better be for those that don't agree with you. Enough of that echo chamber. That is my rant. That's why I brought this out. Thoughts and ideas compared to propaganda. I want thoughts and ideas. Enough with the propaganda. This is Baron Tagge cooling down now. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.